If they could play Ave Maria, if you can get it, Justin, let's go if you can.
The Republican Party today is more ideologically akin to the Democratic Party of yesterday, while the Democratic Party today is more akin to the Whig Party of 19th century. Let's look at what problem the federal government is facing in 1836. We are wasting a lot of taxpayer dollars on papers.
Will be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars. And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, GOES. And the next phase of our plan to deliver the greatest economy in history is for this Congress to pass tax cuts for everybody. They're in there, they're waiting for you to vote. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
Protectionism was the popular trade policy in 19th century. In practice, that means there's a 10% tariff on both imports and exports. But the government was still importing goods from other countries, and that will be changed.
We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
A war with Mexico regarding the Western Territory is unavoidable at this point. After that, we shall make Canada our 51st state, and then we're gonna get Greenland from Denmark one way or another. Australia is not a real place, and we want to keep an eye out for
China. So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world, and we're ranked at the bottom of the list. We're ranked very badly. And what I want to do is let the states run schools. I believe strongly in school choice, but in addition to that, I want the states to run schools, and I want Linda to put herself out of a job.
what research should the government encourage: art, pharmaceuticals, labor union, anarchism, and human rights.
Radical left lunatics, maniacs, and perverts. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist. All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
Let's see how the market is doing 2 months after Liberation Day. Furniture, clothes are 40% up in price, and almost everything has become more expensive. 50,000 people are starving because of the increase to grains price.
Have you said thank you once?
90 days to election. The opposition party received a big boost in the poll after they point out that the current cost of living crisis is entirely of Trump's own making, and a free trade policy will drive down the price. It looks like President Trump will lose the re-election bid. In theory, Trump has lost the election, but we live in the worst timeline.
And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. We have come to demand that Congress do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building.
January 6, a mob stormed the Capitol. They kept Trump in power by preventing a session of Congress from counting the legitimate electoral college votes. 18 months after Jan 6, the nation is still in turmoil. The Congress is in paralysis, the GDP has barely gone up, and the literacy rate is going down, as is the standard of living. People are becoming more and more furious with the government. On the bright side, the inflation has come down a bit. A farming boom, along with leadership changes at the Democratic Party, has made the government more popular, and the Congress is able to continue the immigration reform.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
With the renewed focus on immigration, the petite bourgeoisie class, which consists mostly of small business owners, has left Whig Party for the Democratic Party in droves. With that realignment, the Democratic Party was able to win big in the 1840 election, and the new Congress is finally able to pass the immigration reform. American people has endured a decade of high cost of living under President Trump's trade policy. But with the advancement in technology and manufacturing process, the domestic supply of consumer goods is greatly increased. As a result, the prices has come down.
And it will include a historic increase in defense spending to rebuild the depleted military of the United States of America at a time we most need it.
Under the leadership of President Trump, U.S. military gained its might in the 1850s. The defining characteristic of the U.S. military is the prolific and innovative use of artillery regiments. The military-industrial complex quadrupled in size, and new ammunition plants and artillery foundries are constructed annually. By 1855, the annual U.S. military budget has increased by sixfold to $1.6 million, which is 5% of GDP.
The territory to the immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control. They have total control over a whole nation, posing a grave threat to our national security. The cartels are waging war on America, and it's time for America to wage war on the cartels.
We will fulfill our manifest destiny by conquering the western states from Mexico, and also make Mexico into a subject of America, just so that.
We are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
May 20, 1860, U.S. was officially in a state of war with Mexico. President was advised by his generals that the war would be over before Christmas if the naval invasion plan through Gulf of America was approved. Despite some initial success with the naval invasion through Gulf of America, by spring 1861, the whole naval invasion was scrapped. That means a speedy end to the war is no longer possible. On the bright side, the Mexico army is no match for US artillery regiments. Within the first 12 months of the war, the US has already occupied Texas, New Mexico, and Utah. By summer of 1862, the US Army has already reached the Pacific and are now crossing Rio Grande, heading towards Mexico heartland. During the war, the US has doubled its military spending to $3.6 million annually. By Thanksgiving Day, the US Army is only 100 miles away from Mexico capital. April the 5th, US Army entered Mexico capital, and within weeks, Mexico government capitulated. The 3-year bloody war has finally ended. The new territories like Arizona and California are rich in gold deposits. By 1866, gold mines represent 10% of the national revenue, which is around $1 million per year. New construction methods, along with the subsequent booms in steel mills and glassworks, represent the greatest economic boom,
the likes of which the world has never seen before.
in order to have the workforce for all the new jobs.
And we are looking at a healthcare that would be a fantastic tribute to our country, a healthcare that will take care of people finally for the right reasons and also at the right cost.
Meanwhile, the institution of slavery is preserved through the violent crackdown by the federal agents on protesters ordered by President Trump.
I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
Censorship laws were passed to suppress any further abolitionist movement. 1866, Britain and US signed the Oregon Treaty, which transferred the state of Washington, Idaho, and Oregon to US control. 2 years later, Russia agreed to sell Alaska to United States for $3 million. 1874, US invaded Hawaii, and within a few months, the backward nation of Hawaii capitulated. A year later, the mere threat of mobilization was enough to convince Denmark to give up Greenland to United States. To fulfill our manifest destiny, we have to take on Canada and its overlord, Britain. That means we have to expand our army, and more importantly, our navy as well.
To boost our defense industrial base, we are also going to resurrect the American shipbuilding industry, including commercial shipbuilding and military shipbuilding. We will create a new Office of Shipbuilding in the White House and offer special tax incentives to bring this industry home to America where it belongs.
By 1887, the US Army has once again quadrupled in size. But more astonishingly, the US Navy has increased its size by 8 times, and the Navy fleets have transformed from wooden warships into state-of-the-art ironclads.
Canada would be great as our cherished 51st state. You wouldn't have to worry about borders, you wouldn't have to worry about anything. And by the way, Canada is very highly taxed, and we're very low tax. We're considered a low tax nation because of me, because I cut the taxes so low. So the people of Canada would pay much less tax. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, "Rah." Well, when you take away that and you look at that beautiful formation of Canada and the United States.
October 1887, US declared war on Britain for control of the Dominion of Canada. The Pentagon planned to use fleets of torpedo boats to cut off Britain's trade and supply network, effectively institute a naval blockade on the British Isles. The first naval battle of the war happened in April, when British and US main ironclad fleets engaged each other in the English Channel. In the end, the US fleet managed to pummel the English. Similar stories are happening in the key shipping lane all around the globe. Notably, in Bay of Biscay, a US torpedo boat was able to sink a British ironclad. Every month, 5,000 British convoys were destroyed. By the end of the year, the entire British convoy system is gone. And a naval blockade on the British Isles is indeed in place now. As a result, the British economy is in free fall. Meanwhile, on the continent, the US Army was able to capture British Columbia, Ontario, and Quebec against an opposing army that's running out of supply. 6 months later, on May 1889, Britain capitulated because of the dire economic situation caused by the blockade. We have finally achieved President Trump's ambition.
Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.